We're just about 3 minutes after 7 o'clock as we settle into hour number 2 of the Morning Brew for today, Tuesday, the 13th of April, 2021. Of course, everyone looking at the situation in St. Vincent and the Grenadines with the continuous eruptions of La Soufriere volcano and the ash that is being spewed into the atmosphere, affecting aviation in the airspace of several countries in the region. Barbados in particular has been getting quite a banging in terms of ashfall, and we have an update on that situation now with the help of a couple CARICOM Youth Ambassadors out of Barbados. We want to say good morning and welcome to Java Sealy as well as to Meghan Tibbles. Good morning, lady and gent. Thanks for joining us on the show this morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Let me begin. Let me begin with Ambassador Meghan. What is the situation where you are in Barbados, and where exactly is your location in Barbados?
I am actually located in the south of the island, so I am close. I'm about a 5-10 minute drive away from the airport. Right now, actually, as I'm looking outside, the sun, we can actually see the sky and the sun, which is a drastic change for how it's been over the last few days. We're grateful for the reprieve, for sure. Obviously, it's not as intense or disastrous as it would be in St. Vincent, but it has definitely been something that I, for sure, have never seen in my life. So a little bit of sun right now, I'm very grateful.
Java Sealy, where are you located in Barbados, and what does it look like in your neck of the woods?
Well, I'm located in the east, and us people in the east are very motivated by the sun. So unless I looked out just before the show started, I wouldn't have believed it, because it's like Meghan said, it's such a drastic change from how it's been over the past few days. Imagine waking up on Friday morning and it still looks like midnight up till 12 midday. It was almost frightening, come to think of it, because it's like Meghan said, nothing that we've ever experienced in recent memory. It was thick and it was dense, just ash fall everywhere. We actually had a downpour, another downpour, although a bit lighter than the past few days up to last night into this morning.
Are you able to, were you able to move around at all yesterday, or were you given advisories by the authorities to stay inside and of course wear your mask if you needed to, and those types of bits of advice? Meghan?
We were definitely advised by our government to reduce the amount of time spent outdoors. So basically only the essential movements wherever possible. So if you could work from home, work from home. Quite a few places were closed. Today, we do know that a few essential services such as village shops and other, I can't remember exactly the list. Supermarkets, bakeries, hardware stores, pharmacies, those things are open today. A lot of them were closed yesterday. Movement was definitely restricted. To be honest, you didn't really want to be on the road because it just didn't seem safe. If you were driving, I know my stepfather had to go on the road for work purposes, and he said that it's very, it was quite scary. The dust was kicking up when you were driving, regardless of how slow you were driving. So everyone was extremely cautious. I know we had a few minor accidents yesterday, nothing too grave, but we did have a few accidents because once obviously it started to rain yesterday, the roads became slick. So that then compounded the situation. So it was a bit disoriented. So I know I personally was home. I had no reason to leave. I didn't test any waters with that.
Ambassador Java Sealy, tell us, what have you been hearing from young people for whom this may be their first experience of this kind?
Well, I've been hearing pretty much cries of terror given the novelty of the situation. Up to, I believe it was Saturday evening, our Prime Minister would have remarked about how new this situation is. So the young persons would have echoed their sentiments. Young persons some of them were pretty excited, more or less. Some of them would have said from as young as they were about 5 years old, they would have wanted snow, but instead they got ash. So they were, not necessarily making light of the situation. We still very much empathize with our brothers and sisters in St. Vincent, but for the most part, there's a large concern about how our brothers and sisters in St. Vincent are doing, given how the ashfall has affected Barbados in such a thick, consistent manner.
In terms of cleaning up exercises, how is that going? What have you seen? What have you heard? And have you been given advisories as to how to go about cleaning up the ash? Because one of the things that we would have seen from UE seismic is, you know, it can get pretty hard and compact really quickly, especially when you introduce moisture into it. Ambassador Java.
Well, for the most part, the authorities have advised us to use muscle where possible to assist with the cleanup efforts. Yesterday was the first day of our national pretty much cleanup initiative, with today being continuation, with Barbadians asked to clean around their curtilage as long as it is safe to do so, making sure to sweep where possible and to move that first layer of dust. However, they were asked to take into consideration that the ashfall will be consistent. Therefore, large-scale cleaning measures might not yield much results. Now, persons were asked to exercise extreme caution, given that in circumstances like these, that are very unsafe, because once the ash, connects with water and it becomes denser, it becomes very silt and concrete-like, which makes it even more unsafe. They were asked to take into consideration the fact that, if you do wash the ash down, it will probably go into your drainage. And given the past two press conferences that we've had, the emergency updates with our Minister of Home Affairs and our very Prime Minister, we're advised to just apply our hearts to common sense and to operate as safely as it is, so that once things return more to normal, our cleanup efforts will be a lot more effective over the time. But given the fact that the volcano, decides how long the ashfall will last, everything is still pretty much up in the air.
Ambassador Meghan, all of this is happening in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, which I'm sure has proven to be an additional challenge. And I know that right now your country is rolling out its own COVID-19 vaccination drive. How has this situation with La Soufriere impacted those activities?
Right now, there actually was it aligned with a bit of a lull in terms of the giving out of the vaccines, because we're actually commencing our second round of vaccinations very shortly. So it came to an end. The first round of vaccines actually came to an end it was actually pretty well timed. So there was a little bit of a lull, but for now, obviously things are up in the air as to when that will commence. I know that they're trying to keep the polyclinics as clean as possible and ashfall away from them. So they're actually closed right now because they're trying to make sure that the hygienic standards are maintained at the polyclinics for sure. So right now, with regards to the actual vaccinations, things are looking okay. It hasn't disturbed or disrupted the vaccinations right now, but we'll see how things go. I do know that as much as this is not necessarily ideal, it does help everyone to stay further isolated, which can only obviously help in a positive way, small positive way with regards to managing COVID. So again, trying to find a silver lining in what is very much unprecedented, at least for me.
You indicated earlier that there were a couple minor accidents as a result of, reduced visibility and so on, and road conditions because of the ashfall. Have you heard, or have there been any reports of people becoming ill because of the ash itself and probably going into respiratory or even cardiac difficulties as a result of that?
At this time, I haven't personally heard anything. There was a press conference yesterday, so I believe if something like that had happened, we would be made aware either via official means or social media. I personally haven't seen anything to that effect. I believe everyone's been taking this quite seriously, so everyone's been doing what they can to stay indoors, stay away from the very toxic, poisonous, hazardous ash. So at this moment, I can't say that I've heard anything to that start.
Okay. It's so ironic that this ash, which is so deadly right now, eventually it can turn out to make the soil even more fertile than it would have been before once everything settles down. But just as a matter of interest, Ambassador Java, Sealy, what efforts are being made to lend assistance to our brothers and sisters in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? Are CARICOM Youth Ambassadors coming together to do something specifically? Are you working with any NGOs in this regard? What's actually happening?
Well, given the nature of the situation, I've seen CARICOM exhibit a tremendous response. So whereas Meghan and I have not been able to connect with some of the other CYAs, we've been very quickly working yesterday with the Prime Minister's Special Envoy on reparations and economic enfranchisement to start to mobilize persons in order to collect donations ahead of the next shipment on Wednesday. I would have been very closely following some of the other updates of our other heads of state, as well as some corporations. I know that Digicel would have donated up to US $500,000 yesterday to give, to be able to donate towards the relief effort in St. Vincent. I would have seen that the World Bank would have introduced a $20 million line of credit, among other things. But I believe that the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt, along with some of the other leaders in the region like Nicolas Maduro from Venezuela, and I know that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and Grenada and St. Lucia have been all more than welcoming, being able to donate towards collecting the necessary supplies. And in this case, you would think that they would need food, and they do eventually. However, they have more of a need for fields, tends to have more of a need for, they have things that would allow them to access in St. Vincent and that they have been allowed to access.
Okay, Ambassador Meghan, very quickly, any message that you want to send from Barbados to the rest of the region and even to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines right now?
For sure, we definitely understand, or at least can empathize with the suffering going on right now in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We are here for our brothers and sisters in St. Vincent. And one thing I will say about CARICOM for sure is that in the times of crisis, we do show up and we show out, and I am incredibly proud of the response that we've seen across the region. I know that there can be sometimes a feeling that CARICOM is not successful, or that what is the point? I think that this event has shown us that when it matters, when our brothers and sisters are in need, we will be there to help them. And it's something that I'm proud of, and I'm proud of all of us in our response. And I am sure that St. Vincent will receive all the help that they will need, because we recognize that if it happens to one, it can happen to all of us. We're interconnected, and regionalism at this point is one of the ways that we will get through this.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Meghan Theobalds and Ambassador Java Sealy, for joining us on the show this morning and giving us such a comprehensive update. All the best to you, and may you, recover quickly from the Ashfall over in Barbados. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.